Okay, so let's dive into something I think we've probably all thought about a lot, right? Budgeting.
Yeah.
We've heard it a million times.
Yeah.
Track every penny, stick to your plan, and you'll reach, financial freedom.
Right.
But how many of us actually make those spreadsheets work?
Yeah.
In this deep dive, we're going to explore why traditional budgeting sometimes backfires.
Mm.
And we'll look at examples from Canada,
Oh,
the US, even Dubai,
sounds good.
real world stuff.
What I think is really interesting here is that budgeting, like the traditional way,
Yeah.
can set us up for failure.
Oh, interesting.
It's almost like we're trying to fit our crazy lives into this little box.
That's so true. And speaking of feeling squeezed, have you seen the rent prices in like Toronto and Vancouver?
Tell me about it.
Renters are spending so much of their income just on keeping a roof over their heads.
Right.
It's scary to think what happens when an unexpected bill comes along.
Exactly. And that lack of flexibility, I think that's where traditional budgets really fall apart.
Right.
Yeah.
Whether it's your car breaking down or groceries suddenly costing more,
Mm.
those strict spending categories just don't work when things are always changing, especially in Canada where the cost of living can jump around so much.
And don't even get me started on the healthcare system in the U.S.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, one medical bill can just wipe out even the most carefully planned budget.
It's true.
It's like we're doomed to fail before we even start.
It feels that way sometimes. I think a really important point here is this.
Okay.
If budgets are supposed to help us manage money, why do they make us feel so bad?
You know what? It's funny you say that.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of those super restrictive diets. You know, you cut out everything you enjoy,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then you just end up wanting it even more.
Cool.
Eventually, you just give up,
Oh.
and you overindulge.
That's such a good analogy.
Yeah.
It really highlights the psychology involved, right? Behavioral economists say when we feel restricted, our brains, well, they kind of panic and go into the scarcity mindset. Oh, interesting.
And that leads to, you guessed it, impulse spending.
Wow.
It's like our survival instincts take over.
That makes sense.
We start wanting what we think we can't have even more.
So you're saying that by trying to control our spending too much, we actually make things worse.
Exactly. And this is especially interesting when you look at different parts of the world.
Okay.
Think about Dubai, for example.
Hmm.
There's a huge emphasis on a certain lifestyle.
Oh, yeah.
That feeling of deprivation is amplified by this pressure to keep up with everyone else.
It's funny you should say that. I've heard about expats going to Dubai, hoping to save money,
Yeah.
but they end up spending more than ever because of the lifestyle there and the need to fit in.
Yeah, that's a perfect example of how these outside factors can really mess with our best intentions.
Mhm.
It's not just about willpower. It's about understanding how our minds work, the
Yeah.
psychology behind it all.
So if traditional budgeting doesn't really work, what are some other options that actually do?
Well, there are some interesting approaches we're going to explore,
Right.
approaches that help you build good habits and a better relationship with your money instead of just relying on willpower.
Okay.
Ah,
All right, I'm intrigued. I think most of us are ready to ditch the spreadsheets and find something that actually works.
absolutely. One popular and effective alternative is this: pay yourself first.
Oh, interesting. Pay yourself first. Okay, I like the sound of that. So tell me, how does it work? What's so different about this method?
I think the biggest difference is that it's about being proactive,
Okay.
not restrictive. Instead of waiting till the end of the month to see what's left over for savings, you put your future self first, right away.
Okay.
So before you even think about spending your income,
Yeah.
you're automatically putting some of it straight into savings or investments.
So it's like paying your future self even before you buy those lattes and go on those online shopping sprees?
Exactly. It's a concept called pre-commitment.
Yeah.
By automating those savings transfers, you're basically taking away the temptation to spend that money.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You won't miss money you never really had access to.
Right. Takes the pressure off, too.
Yeah.
That
yeah.
back and forth between should I save, should I spend?
Totally. And this method can work in all sorts of situations.
Okay, so can you give me some examples?
Sure. So in Canada, people can use their tax-free savings accounts or TFSAs.
Right.
Not only can you make automatic contributions,
Mhm.
but any money you earn in there grows tax-free. It's great for long-term savings goals.
Yeah, that tax-free part is a big deal.
It is.
Even small differences in investment returns add up over the years.
You got it. It's like supercharged compounding.
Okay.
And for building long-term wealth, In the US, there's the 401k plan.
Right.
Employers even match your contributions sometimes. Setting up those automatic transfers is like effortlessly building your retirement fund.
It's all about consistency, right?
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
not about trying to time the market perfectly.
Yeah.
It's about consistently putting money in, even small amounts from each paycheck.
Okay.
With automation, it's like you take out all the emotion and guesswork.
That makes a lot of sense. For those expats in Dubai we were talking about,
Right.
facing that lifestyle inflation,
Yeah.
this pay yourself first method could really help, couldn't it?
Oh, definitely.
So how does that work in a place like Dubai with all those temptations and social pressures?
Well, they could set up automatic transfers to a savings account back home.
I see.
They're essentially building a safety net outside of that high spending environment.
Okay.
So even if they do get caught up in Dubai's social scene, they're still consistently saving somewhere else.
Oh, I like that. It's like having a financial anchor.
Exactly.
But what about those of us who want some flexibility in our spending?
Yeah.
Pay yourself first. Seems great for long-term goals.
Mm-hmm.
But does it let you enjoy life now?
That's where the 80/20 spending plan comes in.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that. Is it really as simple as it sounds?
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems really simple. I've always liked the idea of the 80/20 rule. It feels like it applies to so many parts of life,
It really does.
finance included. So how does it work when we're talking about, like, actually budgeting?
Well, it's all about how you divide up your take-home pay.
Okay.
Making sure you take care of both your future self and your present self.
Okay.
The idea is you save or invest 20% automatically,
Okay.
and then the other 80% you can spend however you want. No guilt.
Whoa, hold on. No spreadsheets, no tracking every dollar.
Nope.
That's way easier than all that traditional budgeting stuff we talked about.
Right. It takes all the pressure off. You
Yeah.
don't have to categorize every expense or stress over every purchase.
Okay.
It's more about like creating a good relationship with money where you're balancing saving for the future and enjoying today.
That makes a lot of sense.
Uh-huh.
Especially for people who hate traditional budgeting.
Yeah.
Or who just can't stick to it.
Exactly. Life happens, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And your spending needs change from month to month. The 80/20 plan is flexible.
Okay.
Like, let's say you're in Canada and your car needs fixing or your heating bill goes up.
Mm-hmm.
You can just adjust your spending within that 80% without feeling like you're breaking any rules.
So it's more adaptable.
Exactly.
What about our Dubai expats? The ones dealing with all those lifestyle pressures. Would this help them too?
Definitely. They can still enjoy what Dubai has to offer
Okay.
without feeling guilty or having to keep track of every dirham.
Mm-hmm.
The 80/20 plan lets them build wealth steadily while still, having fun and living their lives.
It sounds like both pay yourself first and the 80/20 plan offer some really great alternatives to, the strict and sometimes kind of unhelpful traditional budgeting methods.
They really do.
So in your opinion, why do these alternative approaches work so well?
Well, I think it's a few things. First, they make saving a habit
Okay.
by automating it. No more thinking about it, it just happens.
Mm-hmm.
Second, they work with, not against, our psychology.
I see.
No more temptation or guilt around saving, it just feels positive.
Okay.
And lastly, I think they help you have a better relationship with your money. It's all about balance. Planning for the future, but enjoying the present too.
So it's not about sacrificing. It's more like investing in your future self.
Exactly. It's about feeling empowered, not restricted.
Yeah.
Abundant, not deprived. You can enjoy your life today and still be financially secure tomorrow.
And the best part is you don't need to be a financial expert to make it work.
I agree. Anyone can do this, regardless of their income or background.
That's great. So for our listeners who are ready to ditch the spreadsheets and try something new, what's one simple thing they can do today to get started?
Ooh, that's a great question. What stood out to you the most today?
Well, honestly, I think the most important thing is to automate those savings transfers.
Okay.
Like setting up automatic contributions to a TFSA or 401k,
Mm-hmm.
or even just having money regularly moved to a high-yield savings account.
All right.
You could start with just $20 or $50 a week.
Yep.
And it can make a huge difference over time thanks to compounding.
I totally agree. It's all about building that momentum and making saving a habit.
Yeah.
Once you see those savings grow without you having to do much, it keeps you going.
It's very motivating.
It is. And remember, it's not a race, it's a journey, right?
Mm.
Find what works for you
Yes.
and adjust as your life and goals change.
This has been such an insightful deep dive.
It really has.
We've learned why traditional budgeting often fails,
Yeah.
and we've explored two amazing alternatives,
Yeah.
the pay yourself first method
Yeah.
and the 80/20 spending plan.
That's right.
I think we can all create a healthier, more sustainable relationship with our money,
Absolutely.
one that helps us reach our financial goals
Mm-hmm.
without giving up on enjoying the present.
Well said. And remember, you don't have to do this alone.
That's true.
There are so many resources out there, from financial advisors to online tools,
Yeah.
even entire communities dedicated to this.
Yep.
Don't be afraid to ask for help and learn more about what works for you.
So there you have it. Traditional budgeting might not be the answer for everyone, but there are other options out there
That's right.
that can totally change how you think about and manage your money.
Mm-hmm.
Start small, automate your savings,
Yeah.
and watch your confidence grow. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It was a pleasure.
And remember, your journey to financial freedom starts today.